about it. And I've met like older ladies who, are like, yeah, I play with my kids all the time. And I've, obviously met super young kids where I'm like, wow, I'm shocked. And they're like, love the game. But it's just so crazy to see the diverse age range as well for people who are interested. But anyway, we'll talk more as we get into the downtime. But we are live in game number 3. We're tied here in the grand finals for the eBay Charity Invitational by Onog. And Fabi and Westrice are our 2 finalists with 1 game apiece. Fabi has stayed on Tristana, and we have a Malphite coming out for Westrice. So what are your thoughts on these 2 champs and how this could potentially go down?
So Fabi, one thing to note, Fabi actually banned Pantheon. So that shows he either respects it or he doesn't feel comfortable playing against it, which most people don't pick Pantheon in solo queue, so I can imagine that. So Tristana is a fairly safe pick to fall back on for him. It's like more like a comfort pick, and Westrice can actually play Malphite fairly well. But the way this matchup is going to work, while Tristana has the ranged advantage, as opposed to Malphite having, he's melee, Westrice has a shield on Malphite, and it regenerates after being out of combat for 10 seconds, or taking damage for 10 seconds. So that will kind of help to mitigate, and he can use that shield to poke him out with his Q, or his Seismic Shard, which you see he's already leveled up, and it'll do a decent amount of damage. So he's gonna just look to try to poke out Tristana, and if he can get to 6, try to poke and then kill. So that's what Malphite is going to attempt to do. He's probably gonna mainly stack like Doran's rings and just look to try to get that kill opportunity.
Okay. And I was gonna ask, because each one of the champs and of course characters or players, like they have their own strat going in, but also the kill potential changes, obviously, from level to level, from low to 6 to even further than that. Westrice already taken quite a bit of damage.
Right. And this is where Tristana is going to be most effective. When if she can keep his shield from coming up, and just keep laying down the damage, it's going to force that early health potion, which we see is already almost like done. And this is where Westrice is going to sit, and he's going to have to rely on leveling up to get extra health and then base regeneration.
So you put a lot of pressure on here right away. And as you mentioned, obviously that'll change as the level up continues. But so far right now it's 12-5 CS. And
that's
no
that's to be expected from like a Tristana versus a Malphite. It's gonna be hard for Malphite because he's either going to have to use his Q to last hit or poke, and he has to step up to auto attack. Now Fabi doesn't have sustain except for the on hit unless he's running Lifesteal Quince, which is a strong possibility. So Fabi's basically going to control this lane, and it's going to come down to when Westrice buys and hits 6, will he have enough items to poke out and kill beyond that point?
And already, I think the Pantheon choice, I mean, Fabi obviously went into game 2 with a clear strategy, but Pantheon kind of hard countered that straight up, and I think this is what Fabi intended to do in game number 2.
Right, if you're going, and the big thing here, if you're going to lay down pressure onto a Malphite, it'll work a lot better than trying to lay down pressure onto a Pantheon. Because Pantheon gets his shield from staying in combat, which blocks a hit. Malphite gets a health shield from staying away. So that in itself is going to force him to stay away from Fabi and minions. So he's going to be denied last hits. And it looks like Westrice might be back. He might try to see if he can bait Fabi into a fight, but without that shield, 1 hit will cancel the recall.
Oh, takes a second turret hit there. Did cancel the B from the first time. I think was looking to potentially do it a second time, but now that this wave is taking some damage and potentially will be push up, Westrice decides he's going to hang back a little bit longer.
So as soon as Westrice saw Fabi jump onto the wave, he knew he's going to push this down because he thinks I recalled. But the problem is here, Fabi's just hammering down at the tower, and Westrice can't really effectively wave clear because he is going to get killed if he steps up to use his E.
And I think that Fabi had an opportunity to jump in there if he wanted to try to close it out. Even with the barrier, there he goes. He's going to do a little bit more damage, but smarter move to just take back. He's also done 50% damage to the tower already, so...
And here's the thing about Fabi's items. He doesn't have an Elixir Fortitude. So the damage he has is coming from style. Oh, he might go in now the barrier's down. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So he knew that without Red Pot, there's really no point in going in all in on a kill. It's better to try to bait it out and see if you can bait the barrier, then go in for the kill. Because if he doesn't go in for the kill while his barrier's up, he can just hammer down the turret, and Malphite will lose tower if he backs. So that was good play by Fabi there.
Now, before we take a quick break, do you think we will see a Tristana ban now?
I think we might. I would imagine so if he bans Pantheon. It'll depend on what they feel comfortable playing against.
We'll have to see. Let's see. Here are the new bans for this upcoming game. And yeah, so it's Westrice banned first, Draven, and then Pantheon, and then Tristana was the second ban. Akali, Kate, and Zed.
Yeah, so Caitlyn's been banned a majority of these games just because of her lane phase. She has 650 range, and that is just huge. She can outrange everyone. Like every hero in the game gets outranged by Caitlyn. So that's like coming out. Fabi knows how to play Caitlyn as well. So yeah, these bans. I was expecting these bans.
That is what you were expecting?
Yeah, I was expecting, the assassins in the Pantheon and then the 80 carries. And it's normally you ban out the 80 carry, you lose two. So
And that becomes effective strat. So could be match point for Fabi here, and he could win it all for Greenpeace off of a win. We're waiting patiently here for the champion select, and then we'll show you guys. And I actually want to ask you a question that was asked to Saint Vicious, but he didn't necessarily want to talk too much about it, I think, because of the upcoming competition. But it's just thoughts on the 310 jungle changes. As a jungler, I think that some folks out there who are watching, they're like, yeah, we'd love to hear some thoughts on it. So maybe you'd be willing to speak a little bit more to that than I think Saint was willing to.
I haven't actually looked at the patch notes yet. I can pull them up right now, though. Let me grab them real quick.
All right, no problem.
Yeah.
I'll bring up the champ select page. We got an interesting select here, so my kid would be happy right now. Looks like oops. That's not the right one. All right, it looks like we have Westrice with Teemo and Fabi with Varus.
Yeah, so Fabi used Varus against Minigun.
Really well.
Yes, incredibly well. And Varus is very good at poking out early. Just the piercing arrow is so strong. The hail of arrows in case someone tries to run at you and engage. And I mean against a Teemo that's actually really useful. So Teemo will use his W to try to run up, but if he can hail of arrows, it'll provide a slow and he can kind of disengage and back up.
He played him very well. In fact, there was the one game where we saw 100% arrow up until his fifth or sixth arrow, and it made a drastic difference in the game. As they went on to level 3 and 4, and then that was also the game where the 3 Dorans pretty much shut it down, true, just straight up item advantage. But did you happen to get those changes up?
3.10. I mean, the only thing that I'm really seeing from it is the Master Yi nerf, which his damage output was really high, so I think it was needed. And then the Zac nerf as well, which is basically going to make it harder for him to pick up his blobs that he gets from using abilities. So basically that'll just... Normally when Zac goes in and he fights, he's like, all right, I'm going to use my ulti, I'm going to bounce around. Well, his ult by itself is going to create 4 blobs. So that's 4 things you have to pick up, and it'll heal you. So in the middle of a fight, you can bounce around, and his ult no longer gives tenacity now. So he can actually be controlled when he ults, whereas before Zac could just bounce around through a team, do whatever, while simultaneously picking up his bloblets. But the range was reduced by 75%, so it went from 100 radius to 25 radius. That's going to be huge on Zac. So he's actually going to have to weigh, do I want to move up for damage and maybe another knockback, or should I back up and heal?
All right, I think yeah.
Oh, and then the item changes as well. So looks like Blade of the Ruined King and Bilgewater Cutlass is getting nerfed. What that's going to force 80 carries, because most 80 carries have a range of 550 to 600. most except for your Caitlyn's and then like your level 18 Tristana's and then Kog'Maw with his W and then an ulted Twitch. What that's gonna force range champions to do is kind of like step up to Blade of the Ruined King. So they can't just like Blade of the Ruined King from like, their attack range and keep running. They're gonna have to step up into someone who can potentially gap close in order to use it.
What about anything from a jungler perspective with the turret changes? Like, has that had any sort of effect on ability to be aggro or decisions to be aggro or to pull
Oh, you're talking
ganks
about
or anything like
3.10.
that?
I was reading 3.10a. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you're
3.10.
talking about the turret change mainly.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So the tower change basically shifted the meta away from the fast tower push. Like it won't come as fast as before. So what'll happen is teams will have to prioritize Dragon more. Like Dragon's going to be a kind of shifted focus right now because you had comps built around, okay, well let's fast push this tower, lane swap, fast push that tower, potentially peel back and Dragon. You would have purple side send their bot lane top, which gave blue side more dragon control, but because it was more about fast tower pressure, you could have purple push down top, rotate to bot, and then they could go for dragon. But with that armor change, turrets should stay alive longer, so you'll see an extended laning phase, which is good because that's what the game is based around, is
Right.
laning, as opposed to tower pushing.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you. No, that was great. That was definitely a little bit more than saying. And obviously, he was like, well, I'd like to kind of show some of my strategies or some of the way I've been thinking. I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. So, but I appreciate you chatting about it. We're here in what could be the final game. Why don't you talk to me a little bit about the selections that we have here between our finalists?
So one thing to note, Fabi went with the TP barrier. So that's fairly safe lane tools. He can have that opportunity to go back by TPM with item advantage, and he also has barrier to mitigate the damage from Teemo, and basically the barrier will negate the ignite. So it'll come down to if he can outrun the exhaust on Teemo. But Varus has a fairly safe attack range. I believe it's 575. So he will outrange Teemo, but with the passive move speed from Teemo, he can kind of like step up in auto or step up in blinding. Oh, he lands a piercing arrow on him. So he saw where he stealthed.
Yep.
And if Westrise doesn't move, he can continue to harass him down.
I think Fabi has a 100% win with this champ, so this is interesting. He's fighting for Greenpeace. He's looking for a second one.
He's going to move. He has to move, but he gets hit anyway, and Fabi's going to try to step up and pressure this now.
This is exactly what he did last time.
Yep, and Westrise already has the back. Or he can fake it. Yeah, so it looks like he's going to fake backing and try to loop back around. He might even try to go for Fabi from behind, which would be...
that could work? It does have...
He has exhaust and he has He actually started with Toxic Shot, not Poison. But he's sitting off to the side. He might actually still be in XP range. I can't really tell, but if he's not in XP range, this is going to be really bad. Yeah, so he has to step up. He's already missed. Actually, he didn't miss any. So he stepped up as soon as the minion was going to die. That way he could go in and get the last hit. But he had to use a health potion to stay in the lane, so that brings him down to 2. But he still has that elixir fortitude on him.
And Fabi's going to focus on those arrows again, landing yet another one. Still sitting at 100%.
And Fabi's going to be hitting level 2 really soon on next minion. So we might see some kind of step up aggression, or he's just going to continue to rely on the poke game.
Well, it's been working for him.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole tournament. So I bet he was pretty excited to get this opportunity yet again. And sitting one game ahead, potentially able to
Looks
end it.
Westrise is going in, so he has that blind and he knows he's going to try to auto attack him with the toxic shot, or the poison shot. Oh, that misses actually. So the toxic shot will give him extra damage over time. But this is interesting. So Westrise has sustain, whereas Fabi doesn't. And this is where the problem's going to lie for Fabi. He has to now back up from the creeps, rely on his piercing arrow the last hit, or go for Westrise.
And is that going to be effective? I mean, he's hit a couple arrows here, but
if Westrise can continue to blind him whenever Fabi steps up to trade, then he's going to out-trade him there, because he's going to have 1.5 seconds where he can just auto-attack him freely.
Yeah.
And Westrise has a lot of AD, even without that Elixir of Fortitude being used.
And he's still sitting on top of that right now. So Westrice now being, but we'll see.
Fabi's stepping up. Oh, he gets the piercing arrow to stop it.
He gets the blinded. He's going to go for it, I think.
He might. He doesn't have barrier, but he uses the exhaust. Fabi might go. No, he should be able to survive. Yeah, he gets a level up too. So he has to be careful. Teemo is out of health potions, and Fabi only has the Doran's on hit for sustain. So it comes down to right here. Like, if they stay, someone's going to die.
Yeah, and it looks like both of them know that. They're going to back off respectfully. Minions will just battle it out. We'll settle this for you guys. But no, that won't happen. Right now it's 18 to 20 CS. So.
And the problem here is, he's actually teleporting back, so that's good. Yep, there's the TP. I was going to say, the wave is stacked on Fabi's side with more minions. So it's going to push into Westrice, and with Teemo's W, he can run back to lane faster. So he would have been able to get there in time to clean up that had Fabi not teleported back into lane.
Second Doran's blade did go down for Fabi too on his back. And there's a Doran's for Westrice as well. One of Fabi's things he did do is just try to get that item advantage.
Yep, and so here, what Fabi is going to try to be doing if he wants to try to like harass Westrice is when Westrice steps up for a ranged minion, he has to auto attack him. And every time you see he's stepping up in line with the range creeps, that way if Westrice steps in, he can auto attack. Oh, it looks like Teemo's going in.
He is.
His blinding dart's gonna be up really soon. Oh, but Fabi misses the piercing arrow on a 3 blight Teemo. That would have been a lot of damage coming out. That if this doesn't go, that might be the deciding thing there because he missed out on a huge chunk of damage.
And he's going in for it right as his elixir's about.
He doesn't have barrier though. One more hit. The trade. Wow, that was perfect. He lived with like 20 health and was able to get the piercing arrow off.
A summoner has disconnected.
That's crazy.
So I believe Fabi wins.
Yeah, Fabi grabs first blood. It looked like he was potentially going to fall, but Greenpeace is the winner. And yeah. Congratulations to Fabi. Did you think that Fabi was going to go? I mean, a lot of people were
I didn't know. I honestly didn't know, but I guess he's now Greenpeace's gatekeeper. So that was, and he decided to let all the charity money come into them. So that was good play by Fabi.
That was very good. And I think Varus is kind of coming out as the MVP. Every single game that he brought him to the table. Although that last one could, it came down to the nitty gritty, but every single time he came out with a win.
Yeah, Westrice thought he had it, and he went under turret, and that piercing arrow just made him pay for it.
Awesome. Well, congratulations to Fabi. Congratulations to Greenpeace, who's going to be the sole winner of the donated money from the charity pool for the eBay Charity Invitational. And let's see. I want to just bring up the webpage real quick. Remind you can head on over to ebaycharity.gg. Even though the 1v1 tournament is over, the charity pool progress continues. So remember, you can head on over there on this page directly. You hit this My Gadgets button, and it will take you directly to the eBay page with My Gadgets. Just sign in, and you can check that out as well. But follow these steps to contribute to the charity pool overall, because the winner is Fabi, and all of that is going to be going to Greenpeace. So congratulations, and Curse even gets a win there as well, right?
Yeah. Curse Academy representing.
Brad, thank you very much for coming on. I know St. Vicious had a scrim, and so it was nice of you to step up. It was an absolute pleasure to do the finals with you. So thank you very much.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. I appreciate you having me.
Fantastic. All right, sir. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks again to everyone who tuned in over the course of the past 2 days. Really appreciate you guys showing your support for not only the players but the charities, and also the eBay Charity Invitational by ONOG in general. So, Brad, once again, thank you very much. Have a great evening.
You too.
See you next time. Good luck, by the way, in all your games and school.
Thank you.
Yeah. Take care. And my name's DJ Wheat. I'll be signing off here. But again, thanks for the past 2 days. Thanks to everyone who helped out with the game coordination and organization as well. And a big shout out to all of the players. Also want to just thank eBay for their contribution to the eBay Charity Invitational. And thank you for tuning in again. We'll see you next time. Peace. All I do,